I'll be all voting.
For me?
Yeah, I'll voting.
Who?
Live.
Who?
Live.
Business arising from closed. Moved by Councilor McCutcheon, second by Councilor Allen. Be it resolved that council rises from the closed session of Friday, February 11th at 6:04 p.m. with the following to report. The council discussed applications to committee of the council, and that council appoints the following members to the respective committees as follows. The Accessibility Advisory Committee, Callie Foster, Mary Ledoux, and Tammy Michaud. Recreation Ad Hoc Advisory Committee, Rebecca Pepper and Natalie Dubé. Committee of Adjustment, Jocelyn LaMarche. Planning Advisory Committee, Bob Brown. Property Standards Committee, Dale Freese. Senior Advisory Committee, Bob Brown, Mary Ledoux, Katie Brown, Jeanette Lougheed. South Porcupine Detachment Board, appointed Dale Freese and Mayor Dave Diamond to replace Councillor Bouchard. All those in favor? Carried. And the next resolution, we have 4 members of council declare pecuniary interest in closed, so only the 3 remaining will vote. Whereas Mayor Diamond, Councillor Gadry, and Councillor Campbell sought independent legal counsel in relation to municipal governance matters. And whereas the total legal costs incurred amounted to $14,523.34, $4,841.11 per councillor, which were paid personally. Be it resolved that the Township of Black River Masson approves the reimbursement of $14,523.34 for legal fees incurred, recognizing that these costs were directly related to municipal governance. Vote on that, please. 3. Carried. And further, that council recesses until the commencement of the public portion of the meeting at 6:30. All in favor? Carried. We will now open the regular portion of our council meeting. Township of Black River, Masson acknowledges the Apatipi and Assiniboine Nation traditional territory. We live, play, and work here together, and together we shall build a strong and inclusive community. A reminder to all in attendance that council meetings are recorded and made available to the public on the township website for review. Do you have a disclosure of any pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? None. It was moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Allen. Be it resolved that the meetings of the October 22nd, 2024, November 12th and 26th, 2024, and January 14th, 28th, 2025 regular council meetings be approved as printed. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Charbonneau, seconded by Councillor Bouchard. Be it resolved that the minutes of the October 22nd and 28th, 2024, November 5th and 8th, 2024, December 19th, and January 24th and 29th, 2025 special council meetings be approved as printed. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Allen. Be it resolved that the minutes of September 10th and 27th, 2024 emergency council meetings be approved as printed. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Guthrie, seconded by Councillor Campbell. Be it resolved that the consent agenda item listed on the February 11th, 2025 be received by council, and that any motions contained therein be supported as written. Yep. All in favor? Carried. Move this to delegations. We'll start their delegation and we'll move to the resolution afterwards. We can have Mr. Bruce LaRose from Alternative Energy come up. Mr. LaRose has a presentation on a wind turbine farm. And the presentation will be on the screen to your left and right, I guess. So we'll give you 10 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, we'll give you up to 10-15 minutes and then we'll open the floor for questions from the council members.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me to come in and speak. This is an information session. I'm not here to sell you a wind farm. I'm here to show you an opportunity to generate revenue for your communities. Okay. So you can flip to the next one. Okay, so this screen, I'm assuming all of you have looked at the slide previously. So this is just showing you some of the benefits that you have with the renewable energy systems. Skip again, please. Low-cost energy, the turbines will assist municipal, indigenous businesses, entrepreneurs, and the mining sector. So this proposal has gone out to everyone to make sure that they are aware of what the government has put in place as of October 1st, the fourth government provincial system. Skip ahead. Okay, so the provincial government has put a program in place where they need an additional 5 gigawatts installed energy in the province of Ontario. 5 gigawatts is essentially the same as having one nuclear system like Pickering in southern Ontario, but they want it spread across the north. And in doing so, we have the wind and we have the land that the government wishes to use, as opposed to purchasing, buying out everything. They want municipalities, mining companies, First Nation groups to partner up and to put these systems in place. And I'll show you what they're planning to do with them. Okay, so the first one, the first slide showed, there's 4 wind turbines that were put up in the Yukon for a First Nation community. They're 1 megawatt each. These turbines that we're going to demonstrate will replace with the 1 megawatt turbines, maybe 9 with 1 unit, so that you reduce the harmonics. You don't have a field of 150 turbines like you see in Southern Ontario. With some of the larger ones, like you would see on the prairies, they would replace 2 to 3 individual turbines with 1 7.7 megawatt system. Go ahead, please. Okay, so I had done an economic analysis for Moosonee and Moose Factory. This is when they were bringing in the new hospital that's being constructed there in Moosonee. They wanted an alternative energy system. We initially looked at geothermal, but it was more economical to go with wind turbine. The turbines produce energy at 2.9 cents a kilowatt hour. If you are living in Moosonee, you're paying 38 cents. If you're living in Moose Factory, because of the negotiation, you're paying 11.8 cents. Taking all the homes, the structures, businesses into consideration, they're using roughly 64,000 megawatt hours per year at a cost of $17 million. If they had put in place 3 of these turbines, they would have a savings of $15 million annually. Slide. So this is just a quick comparison here. Wind turbines are producing energy at $29 per megawatt, all the way down. Solar panels at $36, and the diesel generation is $12,000 per megawatt. The reason for that is you've got to pay for the diesel. So if you're looking at $2 roughly for a liter of diesel, an 8 megawatt system is using 196 gallons per hour, times your 3.8 and on, and it comes out to over a 27-year period of actually $1 billion in diesel alone. That's why the cost of using diesel generation is extremely high in comparison to the wind versus solar. Okay, we also took a look at, it says there 1,200 homes that use electric heat in northeastern Ontario. They averaged about 4,000 kilowatt hours per month to heat their homes. Using that basis, we then looked at the biochar, the biomass, and the wood pellet stoves, which seem to be becoming very, very common. Next slide. The turbines, again, 4,000 kilowatts a month, comes out to $116 per month at the 2.9 cents. Biomass at $300 a month, biochar $477, and the wood pellets at almost $2,500 per month. You can buy wood pellets cheaper, but you get less heat generation from those bags of cheaper pellets. Dyadic Mines, north of Yellowknife, they've got 4 turbines in place. These are 100-meter height with 33-meter long blades, and that's important when we look at the graphs later. These 4 are replaced with 1 single unit that we're looking at proposing. It's important to note that in North America, there are no manufacturers of wind turbines over 1 megawatt units. The turbine blades are made in Colorado, but all infrastructure is made in Europe. So the partners that we have are in Denmark and in Germany, and logistics to get them here, bring them into Thunder Bay and so forth, but it's all incorporated in the price. These ones here, this is up in Raglan, partnership with Tuluq Energy, an Indigenous partner. 2 units here, and it replaces 4.4 million liters of diesel per year. So you're looking at roughly $5 million savings by putting these turbines in place. The turbines will run easily 27 years. They're seeing some of the newer models now going longer, by the wear test and so forth. And they're a very good bargain. Okay, so what I've run into, so we've added 2 slides here. As I'm going around and telling people, because we'll get into the cost in a moment, they're telling me that we do not have the wind to drive turbines of this magnitude in northeastern Ontario. There's a reason the government wants them up here. First, we have the wind. Second, we have the land availability. Now, what I've done here is the Environment Canada weather stations. If you're going by Shillington, there's one right on the side of the highway. They're 10 meters high, all stainless steel, right? These are all over Canada. So we collected data for a 4-year period from these weather stations, from the Matagami Conservation Authority in Timmins, and from 3 of the local mining companies. They all have weather stations on their sites. The blue graphs, the blue bar graphs, are these weather stations compiled over 4-year periods. Now, the old turbines cut in at 4.5 meters per second. The new ones, the ones that we are looking at, cut in at 2.5. That's what that red line is. So at that point, the turbines are now generating energy for the electrical grid. The red or orange bars, that's 150 meter elevation, and the gray one is at 200 meter elevation. The line that runs across, that's the hub on these new turbines, and that's at 185 meters height. So these are almost 600 feet high, where the old systems, like on Wolf Island in southern Ontario, on the prairies, are 100 to 150 feet. So these are huge systems. So you're using one to replace approximately 8 of the smaller ones. By doing so, I didn't want to hear me. In doing so, you replace a lot of the harmonics. People complain about the wind, the sounds, because you've got turbines in fields and rows behind each other continuously. And as the eddies are created, you start to get turbulence, you start to have harmonics from the blades, and this continues on, and it annoys the hell out of most of the farmers where they put these turbine systems. Okay, so the hub for these new ones are on that top line that goes across, and you've got everything down there from Iroquois Falls, Attawakaskat, Lake, and so forth. Okay, so it shows you the wind speeds over a 4-year period in these locations. So the government is correct in what they are doing. They know we have the wind here, and this is why they want this program. Next, please. This here's the sweat area of the blades. So the very thin line in the middle there, that's the first slide that you saw, the 1 megawatt units that are in Yukon, and continuing around to the large piece, those are the 82 meter blades that are on these. Can I just talk about
Yeah, just continue without it, yeah.
Okay. So the very small little sliver there, that's the collection area, okay, of the turbines that are in the Yukon. So if you looked at it as a circle, that would be that piece of the pie. These new turbines, the blades are 82 meters in length. So you're 240 feet. And that's the swept area where it's collecting and getting energy. These new turbines will produce anywhere from 24,000 megawatts to 32,000 megawatts annually. And this is the key for communities, for the mines, for First Nations, that in the tender process, you have to put in a cost, what you wish the government to pay you for every kilowatt of energy produced, every kilowatt hour of energy produced. So if you said 10 cents on the particular turbines we're demonstrating here, that you wanted 10 cents, your tender is submitted, you are accepted by the government for this tender. That's equivalent to $3 million revenue annually. Okay, I pay 36 cents at my place for electricity plus delivery charge for every kilowatt hour, right? So if you move that up to where you wanted 30 cents, that's $9 million annually for 20 years. After 20 years, the provincial government owns these sites. So instead of moving forward on the slide, so how this program works is the government wants people to come forward, put a proposal on the table, whether it's wind, solar, battery system, any type of storage systems. And you're going to propose this with an Indigenous partner. There has to be a partner associated with it. The government then So your cost is the environmental assessment that has to be done with most things, and the core. So if you decide that right downtown in front of Tanny's store, you're going to have a wind turbine, it's 100, these big ones are 100 foot in diameter, so they're a quarter acre that you're consuming, okay, on the base. So if you decide you wanted one of those, you've got to do drill core samples so that the civil engineers can determine the construction of the base, make sure that this stays upright, correct, and does its job, okay? You then partner with a financial institution. There's no other money that's going up front on the table. You partner with a financial institution and you submit your tender. Currently, all the tender documents are still in the draft phase until the election is over. Then they'll send out the final documents, hopefully, and in October, the tenders go forward. If you're accepted, the government pays 100% of the cost of the turbine. So if you borrowed 100% of the money from a financial institution, they will pay that back over a 20-year period, including the interest that's associated with the principal. Okay? You then put in what you believe you should be paid per megawatt hour, but per kilowatt hours, okay? So whether you want 10 cents, 30 cents, 50 cents, as you go higher, you're running out of the competitive nature, right? But you will then be paid that as well on a monthly basis if your tender is accepted. When the tenders are accepted, you have 4.5 years to get the turbine, in this case, turbine. It might be solar that you wish, or it could be battery storage systems, but it's all the same game here. You have 4.5 years to have that in place, installed, and operational. Okay, if you're ahead of the 4.5 years, the government's going to pay you a bonus. They need 5 megawatts or 5 gigawatts, sorry, installed capacity, because if the Ring of Fire, if Canada Nickel, all these other little operations around cobalt and so forth, if they come online, we do not have enough energy to operate these new facilities. So this is a money grab, a money maker for a community. So I've been to the Tice, Airport Falls, Cochrane, several of the mines, several of the First Nations, and it's just to show them what they can do. Okay, so this is an information session. I see my clock has just gone off, and it's so that you can look at it and not look at it with the impression that I've got to have this cash up front. These towers and anything over 1 megawatt is 1 million euros per megawatt. So these are $20 million units installed. And that's where you go to your financial institution. They lend you the money, they do this, they get the interest paid, you get everything. It's not out of the community's pockets, but if you're accepted, it's a revenue stream. Okay, like I grew up in Cochrane, Airport Falls. Everybody's broke. No mills any longer. Half of the mines have closed, operations have closed. And this is an opportunity to come back. Northeastern Ontario, one last thing, is given out of 100 points on the tender approval process. We're given 15 points for being in Northeastern Ontario, so east of Hearst, and for having an indigenous partner with the program when it's submitted. 15 points out of 100, right off the top. I'll stop there. Cool. Do you have any questions, or am I free to run on?
Any questions from council? Councilor McCutcheon?
I have a question.
Sure.
You said after the 20 years, the province owns the sites.
The province owns that tower and any energy delivered from it, so you do not get it back.
So that's when the money stops after 20 years?
20 years, yes. So whether you put in 1, you put in 10, and you're accepted, you'll be paid for that period for the cost that you told them, and that's yours. After 20 years, it belongs to the Independent Electrical Safety System Operator, or Hydro, right? It's their problem.
So they'd be on the hook for maintaining it and taking care of it?
Yes, your maintenance costs are also included. Like we have people that do the testing, do the maintenance across Canada. They will provide a cost estimate. The Aecon, Graham Construction, these people will tell us how much it would cost to erect the system. You have the, say, Hatch, who will do the engineering to tell you what it's gonna cost to put the base in place. All of these costs have to be put into your tender, make sure you're not on the hook for any.
So are these envisioned to be on crown land or on private land?
If you put it on Crown, then you have to do, there's a form for the M&R. The M&R will then determine where you go. But if you have vacant land, like, you know, when you're driving down the highway, I can see the top of Ghost Mountain, because there's not a tree left on it, right? You had it up there, the three peninsulas on Lake Abitibi, if you look on the wind speeds, they're at 9 meters a second. You know, like, there's areas, your communities go out, you guys go all the way out to Gibson Lake. There may be hills, high pieces of ground, east sides of the lake. That's why I put Frederick House Lake on there, the east side, not the west, because you have all the trees and the timber and everything, right? So your wind speed is slightly slower, but on the east side of that lake, got 3 times what you require.
Councillor Allen.
I'm just curious about the, when the turbine's up and running, you also have to dig lines to get back to hydro. To connect to the hydro, so even if it is vacant land, let's say that you put it on, if it runs across someone's property, how does that work if hydro owns it after 20 years?
I can't answer part of that, but what I do know is that when they ran the line from Moosonee to Attawapiskat, Five Nations Energy went in, built the line. So they put that line in place. There's no cost to you for that installation because they're paid for kilowatts generated and traveling on the line. There's a transformer system that they have to put in to step up from what the turbine does to the electrical system in your grid. Again, that's theirs. I'm not sure what you do when it goes over someone's land. And I'm also, yeah, all I can say is that if you put it, you're 50 miles in the bush, there's a hell of a cost to get you back. You've got to be close enough to those transmission systems that it makes it comparable to tie in and reduce your costs.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? No? Okay, perfect. Thank you, Ms. Burrows.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
okay,
This period is for council only. I appreciate it.
Sorry.
No problem.
the USBs will stay. Like, it
Okay.
has both, Shannon has both, the mine presentation and the
Okay,
community one, so you can spread, they're not confidential,
okay.
okay?
And if someone approaches in the future with some questions, I will
They're,
be sure to
and my email's on there, you can fire an email off,
appreciate that very much.
okay?
Great.
Thank you very much.
You're free to go. It was moved by Councillor Bouchard, seconded by Councillor Charbonneau. Be resolved, the council receives a delegation from Bruce Rose regarding alternative energy wind turbine farms. All those in favor? Carried. We're moving to new business, speed limit changes in Blackburn Master for discussion. Who is leading that discussion? Who wanted down the agenda?
You asked me that.
Library?
One part of the library. That or changes becomes. I've got you for information for myself. You know, that one.
Okay, well,
Can we, Highway 101, since we're on the topic, that would be MTO, right? That's not us.
Yeah.
Can we see if it would be possible to change it to 90, the 101?
Pardon? West.
Hearing everything you're saying, folks.
For the 101, if we could see if it'd be possible to work with the MTO to change it.
Through the mayor, I'm sure we can put in a request to the NPO and see what happens.
Thanks.
I guess there's no further discussion. Okay, let's move on to B, moved by Councillor Guthrie, seconded by Councillor Charbonneau. Be resolved, the council hereby approves the attendance of blank at the 2025 AMO conference. Looking for suggestion if we want people to attend. And if we do, we want one or two. So I'll open the floor for questions or comments. Somebody push me. Councilor McCutcheon.
All right. So, I had a friend of mine call me a while ago and said the AMO conference is very informational, very good networking. So, two would be good. Seven, okay, we get down there and we can branch out a bit. So we can bring in.
On that note, I should make you guys aware that the Phenom conference that we last meeting, the meeting before we announced we put two in. Our town director is tied up at that conference, so we've changed our reservation to one. So we in turn saved a little bit of funding for that. Just so you know that as you make your decision yourself. And we just need an agreement on how many and who. Councilor Allen.
I agree with two people sending for this, that way we have a backup for any information that might.
We'll throw some names out there with the discussion going there.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to throw your name into that.
Yeah, okay.
I can go with you if you'd like.
Thanks, Councilor Allen. Any other suggestions? I look toward the right hand side of the table here. No, that's a good idea. You want to vote on those two? Every agreement on myself and Councilor Allen? Good with it? Be it resolved, the council hereby approves the attendance of Mayor Diamond and Councilor Allen at 2025 AMO conference. All those in favor? Okay. Okay, quiet. Last item on this section is moved by Councilor Campbell, second by Councilor Bouchard. Be resolved, the council approves the request from the fire chief to send one officer to the Northeastern Fire Education Conference and Trade Show. Any questions or comments? And thank goodness we don't have to pick a name. So, all opposed in favor? Carried. Move on to reports. Moved by Councilor Allen, second by Councilor Gadry. Be resolved that council received memo TM 2025-04 complying with section 284 of the Municipal Act 2001 as information. Any questions or comments on that report? Just for clarification, in case people are wanting, that remuneration on the front page includes the DSAP on the second page. Same as the mileage. Right. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Bouchard, seconded by Councilor Allen. Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of report number FC 2024-13 BRM Fire Department 2024 year-end report as attached for information purposes. Any questions or comments? We have the fire chief here. So let's make him answer something. No. Councilor Bouchard.
I guess, Mr. Barrett, just a question for, it seems to be a lot of false alarms. What's that entail? What's the false alarm that you guys get called?
It could be a variety of things. We may get called on somebody's smoke alarm going off. It could be just a dead battery. Same with a CO alarm, maybe a dead battery or expired. We have a lot of expired ones. It's mostly those type of phones.
You don't know the nature of the call until you actually get there.
The people will, for instance, their CO alarm will start beeping. They believe it's an alarm. We go there, we investigate, then we find out it's either expired or the battery is broken. It's an education opportunity.
uses a lot of resources.
It does use a lot of resources, yeah. At the end of the day, not everybody is for sure, so. Myself, I prefer people there on the side of caution, but at the same time, we get to educate them, so. Chances are we won't get a second one. There is a couple of local fire alarms that we had, like, and false alarms and other things. Sometimes it could be, renovations. In the industrial building, they do renovations, the dust goes into the sensor.
Thank you.
I'll just make quick 2 points if you don't mind, Mr. Fire Chief, is we received a donation from Glencore, which was a 6x6 ATV and a snowmobile. So that probably saved our fire department tons of money. And honestly, we need to be appreciative from Glencore, and thank you very much for facilitating that. The other thing is Lionel Gay with 42 years. That's unheard of in today's volunteer. What's the average length of a volunteer service?
Well, 2 years is the,
We owe a great deal of gratitude to Mr. Gay for that. So that was my 2 comments. Councillor Allen.
I'm very impressed with the fact that, there's also a cancer grant, I believe. Is that here somewhere?
Yep.
For cancer prevention, screening. For the fire marshal's office, that's something that's near and dear to my heart, as I had an uncle who passed away and was a fire chief down in Toronto. And it wasn't until after his death that they found out that it had to do with fighting fires and that the cancer was part of that. So seeing that and that being able to be a part for the firefighters is a very good thing in this world now.
Yep.
Just to see that they're protected.
Councillor McCutcheon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Guy, Leanne's on the fire department. So when there's a call comes in, all the halls get toned out for it?
for structural fires, all the calls, everybody gets dispatched.
Yeah.
For CO and smoke alarms, just the community that call would be in. So we had a CO call in Madison tonight, it'd be just Madison dispatch. It'll still go through everybody's pager, but it'll actually say on it, and it's a different phone.
Yeah, what about motor vehicle accidents?
Motor vehicle accidents and all call.
Is an all
All
call?
brigades. You'll notice on my monthly reports.
Yeah.
I actually put on each call who's been dispatched to it and how many firefighters from each department responded. So you'll be able to track every month on my report, who's been called and how many firefighters have been.
Thanks.
Any other questions, council? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you, Mr. Lamb. Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Kevso. Be it resolved that the minutes of the Black River Masson Drinking Water Systems Management Review meeting be received as information. Questions or comments on this? Councillor Allen.
I do have a question about the MOH requesting action in Coal Tire. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Or what kind of action they're requesting. Because I did see that on part of the report and I wasn't sure exactly what that entails.
Okay, I'll refer to Mr. Lee, as that's his department.
Through the mayor, so unfortunately I'll have to be with you tonight, but I'll write it down, I'll follow with you.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Great. Moved by Councillor Charbonneau, seconded by Councillor Bouchard, be it resolved that the minutes of the Northeastern Public Health Board of Health special meeting held on January 1st, 2025 be received as information. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Cancel, second by Councilor Charbonneau, be it resolved that the minutes of the Board of Health, Port Point Health Unit Special Board of Health meeting held on December 5th, 2024 be received as information. Questions or comments on this? All in favor? Moved by Councilor McCutcheon, second by Councilor Gadry, be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-05 being a bylaw to authorize the borrowing of certain sums in the year 2025. Be and is hereby read a first, second, third, and finally passed this 11th day of February 2025. Any questions or comments from council? All those in favor? Moved by Councilor McCutcheon, second by Councilor Bouchard, be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-06 being a bylaw to confirm the meetings of council and the corporation of township of Blackbird, Mass be read a first, second, and third time. Finally passed this 11th day of February 2025. Question, comments? All those in favor? Great. Moved by Councilor Cancel, second by Councilor Allen, be resolved that bylaw number 2025-07 being a bylaw to provide an interim tax levy. Be and is hereby read a first, second, third, and finally passed this 11th day of February 2025. Questions, comments from council? Councilor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to confirm that we're gonna change the dates
Date on,
for the taxes. Cause I think it's February 28th right now. Like for the tax bills, they'll be due February 28th. 28th day of February. You have to have, I think it's 21 days.
Give them 20 days.
Yeah.
They were out in the mail like 7.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Should we have passed these before they were in the mail?
My dad, I didn't get it to council last time.
we're doing housekeeping.
Yeah, that's good.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Great. Moved by Councilor Charbonneau, second by Councilor Campbell, be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-08 being a bylaw to establish an administrative monetary penalty system, AMPS. Be and is hereby read a first and second time on this 11th day of February 2025. Questions or comments from council? Councilor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to know, first off, do we have a hearing and screening officer in place for this?
Good mayor, those will be appointed after we pass the other bylaw on the 20th.
So this is just a first and second, there'll be a third one.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's for when?
25th will be the third.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Who appoints this? And yes, my question is, are we in a position to start farming out more abilities or more work? Because right now, you know, staff is very busy. And we're gonna start hiring or appointing a screening officer and hearing officer, then we have to have more, either we have more wages and less work coming back, or these individuals aren't gonna do their job right now. What's the plan? If we dump some responsibilities onto another person, they're that person not gonna get to work done.
So through the mayor, the screening will be internal staff, the hearing will be third party. It will be on a case by case basis. It shouldn't be too much additional work. It will be just when the bylaw officer goes out and we find issues, find things.
So the internal screening officer, you said?
Yes. It'll be with like among internal staff.
So that staff. Every time there's an issue, that staff is taken away from their job duties.
Correct.
Are we in a position to do that?
It's hard to tell right now, it'll kind of start the process, but it shouldn't take too long to just review the application. And the first screening layer is just to see if it goes to the second, just making sure that finally the permit was issued properly to the bylaw officer.
Okay, so and do we have a private or included office for this? Because I'm sure an individual want to speak to their fine, stand at the front desk, but there's other residents can come, so do we need private room for this to take place?
Currently, we have enough offices at the office that we should be all right. We can just borrow an office from the office.
I see it, but just my question on this, I see this as it's gonna be a distraction. You know, say we get 2 a day and then one individual has to leave their office so that we can have a screening or preliminary screening and that person not doing their job and I don't know, I'm thinking we need to put a little more thought into this. Councillor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the last, let's say, 2 years, do we know how much fines we've issued or?
Should we? The mayor, that's a question for the bylaw officer. I believe he'll be at the February 20th.
Just until we know that, is it really worth changing and hiring more people and if we're not gonna have fines written, people usually changing the plan.
This isn't supposed to be a money generating venture, but sure as heck don't want to be going down the road losing money just to change the system. That's my thoughts. Any other questions from council? Right, all those in favor? Good. You, Miss Allen and Councillor Sherman would like to record a vote? Sure. Okay. Years to do. Yep. No.
Councilor Allen, how do you vote?
Nay.
Councilor Charbonneau, how do you vote?
Nay.
Councilor Council, how do you vote?
Nay.
Councilor McCutcheon?
Nay.
Councilor Veteran?
Nay.
Councilor Bouchard?
And so as well. Okay, thank you. Defeated. Moves on to next one, moved by Councilor McCutcheon, second by Councilor Bouchard, be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-09 being a bylaw to establish a procedure for the appointment of screening and hearing officers be and is hereby read a first and second time on this 11th day of February 2025. I don't think we even need to vote on this. So, all in favor? Anybody? Defeated. Now on to unfinished business. Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Campbell, be it resolved the council adopts the terms of reference for the Economic Development Committee as attached. And that council directs staff to advertise and initiate the application process to fill committee positions. Questions or comments on this? Okay, I'll lead it off. The question I had was, is there a minimum amount of people we have to have? It has here 4 members of the public. But is that something that's set by the municipal act, or can we reduce that? Because we just spent 10 years filling committee levels, and now we're trying to get another committee with 4 more members of the public before we can even start. And economic development's important to us. So if we make the standard high and the 4 more people, we're not will be a lame duck before this season goes to play.
So through the mayor, this is a draft of the council reference. If you guys want to make some changes, now is the time to do it. We can bring it back for another reading. As long as you have quorum, so even though you have 2 members of council and 4 members of public, as long as you have 2 council and 2 public, you can still have a meeting, and move business forward. If additional members join afterward, and you have more people back to the discussion.
That's where my thought is that we lower the number of public, then we can get this committee up and running. If we happen to have 6 applicants or 5 applicants, we're still in compliance. Councilor Goddard?
Could we not have it like 2 to 5 members? That way, if more want to join, they can.
That way there, if we just say a minimum, or just say 2. Then they give us 2 council and 2 public. Good to go.
Because it's a committee of council, you guys can dictate how many you want. 10 people, you can have 3. It's entirely your choice.
I think 2 would be it.
2 as well? Okay. So is that something you need to change here? Let's read the resolution as amended then. Okay, so it'd be, the membership will read, the Economic Development Committee will be comprised of 2 members of council and 2 members of public. Everybody's good with that change? Okay. Be it resolved, the council adopts the terms of reference for the Economic Development Committee as attached, as amended. And that council directs staff to advertise and initiate the application process to fill committee positions. All those in favor? Moved by Councilor Campbell, second by Councilor Allen. Be it resolved that council adopts the terms of reference for the ad hoc position recruitment committee attached herein as printed, and that council directs staff to advertise and initiate the application process to fill committee positions. Questions or comments? Councilor Allen.
Do we want to do the same thing with this one as the previous one, where we just have 2 as a requirement and then
Yep.
leave it open to have more members, should more members apply?
Council will agree with that as well? Okay. The only question I had under duties and responsibility and purpose, it was the word of hiring. It says here that the committee shall manage the process of finding and hiring qualified doctors, and then later on it says that the township effectively tracks, hires, and retains qualified positions. We're not, I don't think this committee is going to be in the position of hiring a doctor. I don't think I would want to be. I would maybe recommend and introduce the doctor, but hiring a doctor is something that we can't do. That's belongs to mix. So we could, I just want to get ourselves in a position where a year from now, people in the public saying you hired him.
Through the mayor, if you look at the paragraph before, it's working towards developing and implementing strategies to ensure. So it wouldn't be the final goal. We're just helping the process along. So we would bring suggestions back to council, and council will be exercising those suggestions. Ways of council are for making decisions, they're to bring stuff to the table for council.
Okay, so in no way are we're not going to be on the hook for hiring.
No, they're just gonna bring back suggestions and then you guys can follow.
Okay. Everybody's good with that then, that change? Moved by Councilor Campbell, second by Councilor Allen, be it resolved that council adopts the terms of reference for the ad hoc position recruitment committee attached herein as printed, as amended. And that council directs staff to advertise and initiate the application process to fill committee positions. All those in favor? Carried. Brings us to our second last portion, which is our question and answer period. I'll start with the answer from last week. Mr. Madigan had a question about conferences. I'm not too sure which conference we were referring to in that meeting, but I will state that there was a training here in this building in October of 2024. It was Amberley Gavel. It was municipal training. It was It was recommended by our integrity commissioner, a lawyer. And it involved 6 council members, myself, and a couple of staff members, and it was just on municipal training, how to act, how not to act. And it was just a real eye opener. I believe it. The 2 gentlemen are from down south. They did northern tour. I think they did Timmins as well. So that was in October. That was paid for by council. It was around $6,000, I believe, for the full day training. And then about less than a month ago, there was a Roma conference, Rural Ontario Municipalities Association. That totaled probably less than $4,000, which included registration of the conference. And whatever goes with conference, obviously you got the lunches, the meals were paid for by us individuals. Liquor and booze is never paid for by a municipality, so it's, even if it's tried to be submitted as an expense report, it's never paid for. So that was less than 4,000. Again, that was sort of that one would have been like creating relationships with municipal decision makers. That's what that conference was all about. A lot of educational seminars. I did a little blurb on it, but it had all the ministers from Ontario were there at the time, and the premier was there. So it's a lot of networking. So hopefully we get something out of that. So that's my answers to last question period. So I'll open the floor for a couple of questions to anybody. Again, the same rules apply. If you don't mind, keep it short, simple. And please have attended the municipal office to try and ask your question first, because we don't want to turn this into just a question period when no attempt has been made to work with our staff. We have great staff, so hopefully they've attempted. So I see Mr. Madigan, you have your question, your hand up.
Why could these meetings been done on Skype or Zoom or video phone, as you would call it?
Sorry, which meetings you're referring to?
The ones we just paid all this money for? These people, you could have talked to them on video phone, on the Skype, on the computer. Why did they have to come here and we got to pay for all this? It's dangerous for them to be on that highway, for one thing.
Mm-hmm. Are you referring to the training that we received?
Yes, the people that came here.
They were in Toronto, sorry, they were in Timmins.
Huh?
They were in Timmins.
It doesn't matter where they are, you can do it on Skype. Everything's done on Skype. I go to my doctor on Skype.
Yep.
That's just my question.
Okay.
There's other ways to, less expensive than the way you're doing it.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, it's nice to talk to the person to the face, but you can do that. A computer, safety, money, that saves the money.
Okay. Fair enough. Any other questions from, yes, sir?
It's still, I'm wondering about public works. How many years they've cleaned the snow on the side of the streets? And I was wondering, last year they didn't do it. I was wondering, the Quinn Crescent, I live on Quinn Crescent. And the banks are getting higher and the shores are getting more snow. I was just wondering if that's going to be in public works. Budget this year to clean up the side of it. And at the end of your driveway, the piles are getting bigger and harder to back up. See vehicles, so I would like to see that initiated again to clean it up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. What was your name, sir?
John Jepson, 31 Quinn Crescent.
Okay. Did you go into the town office to speak to the?
No.
Okay. Great.
I have a question about the same thing.
Yes, sir.
This goes back to Curtis St. Cloud. What he's talking about in Hall Tyler, they cleaned the snowbanks there and did a really good job so that you can see around the cars. And I noticed around here, the snowbanks are quite high. But the other thing, when the grader plows the road, it's filling the driveways right through with plows and stuff that we cannot dig. Our snowblowers aren't chewing it up. The spring is the worst. In the spring of the year, you get about a couple inches of snow on the road. They come with the ice blade and they scrape that right off, right into our driveways, and then it freezes. You can't do nothing with it. The last time I phoned and complained,
They filled my driveway full of stuff. I was lucky the snow blower was able to clean and it wasn't mild enough when they plowed. They cleaned the street up really good, but they filled all the drive. They make a thing called a courtesy call out that goes on the end of the blade. When the grader comes by, it drops it, it cleans your driveway, puts it in the other bank and they lift it. It's a little inconvenient. It takes a little more time, but it's called courtesy snow plowing. It's on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of videos about it.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your questions. Any other questions from the public? Nope, seeing none. We move to adjournment. Moved by Councilor McCutcheon, seconded by Councilor Bouchard. Be it resolved that this regular council meeting is hereby adjourned at 7:25 PM. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much for everybody.